So good morning, everybody, and welcome to Healing Numbers 22 live numerology reading. Let's just take a breath and let the world do its thing, and let us enjoy this hour together, exploring the energies and having fun. That's what it's all about, right? Joy. So in this hour, our group of 6 readers will demonstrate that energy remains consistent regardless of the modality that we use. I'm going to introduce the gang. David is not here today because he is visiting his beautiful daughter in Chicago. We have Kraylin Christensen, who is the tarot card reader. Lorelei, who is our psychic medium. Lorelei, do you want to explain a little bit? If somebody comes through, how sometimes it manifests physically for you.
Right? Yeah, sometimes it does manifest physically. Or sometimes during just channeling for someone, I'll start feeling things within my body. If mediumship starts, which I don't have a feeling that it is today, but if it starts, I can tend to lose my words a little bit, or become a little bit distracted from it. So if that happens, that's what's going on. So
okay,
yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you. Then we have Dorothy, who is our astrologer, and I am an intuitive numerologist. So I think it's really important that everybody knows none of us have talked about the charts at all. We don't know which direction anybody's going to go in, which makes it really fun because how it all seems to pull together as we're all working together. It's important to me that I hold a safe and comfortable platform for everybody. We're all on our own journey, but we're all in it together. So please, no judgments on anybody. It's all about kindness and respect. I'm also recording this, so if you don't want to have, it goes on my YouTube channel and my website, so if you don't want your camera on, just turn it off. And if you have any questions during this or comments, please put them in the comment field, raise your hand, and it's always fun to have everybody involved. So I want to welcome Anne. Anne is from Maine, and she's got 2 questions for us. Should I take a chance and build up my side business and shift towards part-time with my main job, or should I, and question 2, should I remain living where I am and start to travel more, or should I relocate? Great questions, Anne. All right, so we start out with Kraylin, who always draws our card for us to get the energy flowing. And this is the card that she drew. There we go.
Waiting for it to come up. There it is. The card I drew this morning is completion. And it's a wand. Wands represent spiritual energy. It's Venus in Aries. So basically, this is about spiritual and holistic completion. It represents the ability to look at oneself and the external situations on a holistic in a holistic way. Basically, it's time to step back and kind of take a breath and look at things unemotionally, or do your best to look at them unemotionally. I would say, like, make a list and see how the things are coming together. So with completion, there may be some aspects that are already like telling you, okay, it's time, we're done with this. And it's okay because we're done. and take, see what new directions you want to move into. It can also represent the desire to experience something new of yourself's desires, to experience new situations. It's a wheel.
That's good.
It's turning, Yeah. And so that's kind of where we're starting from today.
Yeah, and that really quite fits in, doesn't it, Anne? Because you do have to take a step back a little bit to try to figure out. You have a lot of things going on, and to reevaluate. I think one of the things I wanted to say to start off is in 2022, you started a new cycle, and 2022 was when a new beginning started. And then 2023, it was about looking at goals and, looking at the details and organizing it a little bit better. This year, 2024, it's about creation. It's about manifestation. So,
are you saying that because of numbers, or are you saying that because you know my life? Like,
I'm saying that because of numbers, the numbers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
Okay.
Did you start new in 2022? Is that when you?
Yeah, well, I had left a relationship and moved into my own home. So
In 2022, yeah.
Yeah, the end of 2021 into 2022. So it was kind of,
Right. So what I'm trying to say is there's 9 years here that you're working towards this goal. So it's not about rushing things, right? And the third year, which you're in right now, the personal year 3, it's the manifestation. This is when it starts to peak up, what you really want to do and how you want to direct it. In 2024, 2025, that's when you solidify it. That's when you make it a structure. So this year really is about allowing your friends to come in, be very creative. It's a playful year. It's kind of want to let your hair down a little bit and have a little bit more fun. You've been working very hard. I do know that. That's something I do know about you, that you've been working very hard towards your goal at your studies. So now it's time to let that manifest a little bit, let it bubble a little bit. If I was to say, because we all have free will, right? We're all going to do what we want, but the energy will support. At the end of this year, the beginning of next year, I think it's when you're going to really start really questioning about selling your home and maybe moving on to something else. But I think there's a lot of things that you've got to do in this, the beginning of this year to get that to that place. Okay, so I don't think you should jump just yet.
Is she getting year 3? Or is she going into year 3?
She's in yes, yeah. And it's a year that the universe gives us to have a little bit of fun and the creativity and use your imagination and really step into what you want, what you're thinking of wanting to do. But it's 2025 that it will come to a structure. You'll make it very practical and you'll know which way you want to go. Yeah. Dorothy.
Oh, there I am, unmuted. Hi, Anne. How you doing?
Hi, great.
Good. I have 2 separate ways to do things today. I wanted to, at first, because I don't know you at all, just looking at your makeup, right? We don't get all completely deep in here, but the soul path and why you're here and different things. And I looked at it based off the questions you asked, right? Should you build up your business? And what about the moving, traveling, etc.? But I can also see, so I looked at it, so we'll talk about that. So one of the things that I see to begin with is at the career point in your chart, you got Gemini up there, and that tells me that no matter what your profession is, because I don't know what you do or what you've been studying, no matter what your profession is, it's something that you need a fair amount of freedom, because if you know Sue personally, she's a Gemini, so am I. And that vibe is, we have a lot of things we need to do, a lot of interests, right? It's not just one thing. So your career needs to inspire your mind. It needs to keep you interested and active. Now, that doesn't mean you don't have a real boring, mundane job, because again, I don't know, but you're constantly processing. And so for you to have a career, a couple of careers, or maybe not even a thing you would even call a career, because it's just what you like to do and what you have to do. There's always going to be more than just one thing. Does that make any sense to you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. And then, so for you to have that sense of freedom and movement and always wanting to learn and always just processing, that's going to be whatever you choose for your profession. Having that, you know, you're old enough to know what you care for and what you like, but having that sense of freedom, having that available to you is super important for you. Because it just sinks in with it sinks in with who you are. So that's the first thing. And so it just tells me that when you, we'll get into this later when I talk about transits after others, but natally, for you to do that, that just tells me, yes, you should always have more than one career at a time. You should always have more than one major interest, because it's just going to feed your soul. It makes you super happy. And then the other thing that, of course, everybody knows what their sun sign is, and you are a Libra, but you have 5 things in Libra, and you're the chart ruler, the major system that we look at here is Venus. So when Kraylin pulled Venus, your Venus is in Libra, but Venus is in charge of everything in your chart. And that tells me as well that partnerships and relationships have a heightened position in your life, throughout your life, whether you have the love of your life or have lost the love of your life, or that's always there. Everybody has a broken heart somewhere. I understand that piece is just normal. But partners and working one-on-one with people is something that you can do really well. It's important for you to have these learning opportunities when you engage one-on-one with people. It's just absolutely part of the makeup of a person who has 5 planets in the sign of Libra. So seeking that. So to be alone by yourself for a fair amount of time is normal. And then to be in partnerships, and that's just your whole life is back and forth with partnerships, that's normal too. So it's finding the balance, when we do this, finding the balance between those 2 things. So how does that resonate for you, as far as just, I know we're general speaking still, but does that resonate some?
So the first part, the work part and the career part definitely resonates. And the relationship part does, except I've really enjoyed the last 2 years of being solo, but
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yes, I've always enjoyed being in a partnership also, but I've really liked, except for my dog, I've liked being alone, and I've spent so much more time with friends since I've ended my relationship.
I was going to say,
And
your
I did say
friendships
that.
are very
Yes.
important to you.
Right. And so,
Yes.
and just to clarify, when I say partnerships and relationships, it is not just one spouse or one domestic partner. It is the people that you're really in tandem with. And that's why I said also, you also like alone time and being by yourself. And it's like, you've got to find the balance between the 2, between being all by yourself all the time, or the partnerships, the relationships that you're in. So like, don't let the pendulum swing too far in either direction, is part of the life lesson of somebody with so many planets in Libra. So to have that alone time is fine. And again, I want you to think of it in your work, in your profession as well. Whatever it is you do, you don't have to tell me yet, but whatever it is that you do, the back and forth in partnerships is absolutely important. Yeah. And that's that. And then your moon in Pisces is very spiritual, very intuitive. Yeah, so the sensitivities there are quite heightened as well. You have to learn how to filter that. I'm sure you've learned. You're in this field here, I think. Well, you're here. Let's put it this way.
Right,
You're
right.
open
Right.
to hear these things. It's what is all that I know.
Yes.
But that moon in Pisces is very, very sensitive. But you learn eventually how sensitive you are and how to shield, how to put up that, how to filter and how to put up those boundaries, how to clear your energy, etc. So that's it in a nutshell. Always more. I've got a lot more to talk about, the determination and all of these things, but Kraylin has her hand up and I'll step back for now. So
Nice.
thank you.
You, Dorothy. Freeland?
Okay. This is weird. I got to tell you, it's the first time in our group
You got it
that I have
again.
actually pulled
Wow.
for the reading and then pulled the same card for the person. So what this is telling me is, yes, it is definitely time for you to be completing something and allowing yourself to be open to move forward. The Four of Wands reminds us that before we can energetically move forward in new directions that have heart and meaning for us, it's important to complete that which we have set in motion. So there is something currently that is, I would say, nudging you, or you're thinking more about potentially, okay, I'm done with this. I don't really need to. Yeah, I want to do something new. And to do that, maybe I let this go. I want to say the wheel itself represents completion and new beginnings. And that represents wholeness and individualization within one. The circle is constantly turning. So, like I said at the beginning, it's time for you to kind of take a breath, step back, and really look at those things you're asking us. And it appears that one of those things, at least, you're going to be completing and moving into a new direction, if not all of them.
I need to interrupt. I am completely listening. I just have to keep going over because my dog's deciding if she needs to go out. So I'm with you. It seems like I'm not
No,
trying to
Okay,
figure
I
it out.
totally
that's
understand.
fine.
I'm a dog person
Okay.
myself. So that's what this card represents. And like I said, I thought this is real interesting that it came up a second time.
Yeah.
So it's telling me this is something you need to hear or, to
Mhm.
think about. So I'm done.
Thank you, Kraylin. All right. How did that resonate with you, Anne? Having that
Yeah,
come
so-
up twice. That's
Well,
interesting,
yeah, and
isn't
it is, I do feel it's sort of like what everyone said. I sort of right now, and my careers aren't that different from one another, but I do feel like I'm at this kind of point that it's more of a logistic thing. Am I not supposed to say what I do? Is there like
Lorelei, are you all set with her telling us what she does?
it doesn't, I can wait. But anyway, yes, everything's resonating with the whole concept of like, I can see some of these things that I'm thinking about. It will take kind of a year to settle it all in. Like right now, they're just like, oh, I think I'd like to do this. And I think I'd like to do this. And I've had 2 years on my own, which has been wonderful. Sad at the beginning, of course, but wonderful. I've seen more friends than I've seen in a long time. And I've just kind of been having all this really nice fun and developing things. And now I do feel like it's a little bit more like, okay, like still fun, but kind of a little bit more like, am I making plans or am I just like figuring things out? So it's everything that everyone said in the cards. So you normally do a card for the reading and then a card for the individual. Is that what?
Well, I'll do 2 more cards during the reading.
Okay.
So I do 3 cards during the reading, but the beginning card is kind of to set the idea of what the condition is or what the main theme is going to be. So pulling it twice, like they will tell you, It's never happened
No,
in a
it's never
reading
happened.
before.
Well, there.
So, saying Spirit's really, you know, pushing to tell you, okay, think
Right.
about what it is you want to be done with.
Mhm.
It's okay to let it go and manifest something new.
Mhm.
Right.
So,
And that will happen this year. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about it, but it's gonna be at the end of the year that you're gonna really understand what direction you need to go into. I wouldn't rush it just yet. I would, but
I
let my
could
hair
relate
down.
because I'm going to be going into my 3-year also. And so, you know, I'm kind of looking forward to it because the last year has been rather pushy
A lot of
for me.
details, huh? A
Yeah.
lot of stuff, yeah. All right. Lorelei.
Okay, hi, Anne. I'm sorry
Hi.
my screen's so dark here. The way I normally start off when I'm reading for somebody is I just kind of feel into their name, the energy of their name, not with numbers or astrology or anything else. I just get an overall feeling. So when I looked at your name, I got that you were creatively determined. So what a nice way to have strong determination, because it makes you look at things in a very different way. I also felt that you were quite organized, that you were caring and pleasant. You can be quite passionate about things, which is, is a strong, skill set and way of being that will help move you forward. You also had the ability to cut things off when need be. And I thought, oh, that's nice. Then you don't allow things to go on too long. Now, about your job, about moving away from your job and going into part-time, what I got was yes, but to do it slowly. Okay. And to really feel into it, address any type of frustration or anger that may be tied to it, or any type of beliefs that are tied to it. I felt that if you go and do something, energetically put yourself there, and it already felt like you were kind of, all right? Like it felt like you could already see yourself there. You were starting to feel yourself there, but there felt like there was something a bit underlying that still needed to be addressed. I would suggest that you maybe start finding or going and getting some energy work done on your body, because I think that'll help shift and move any feelings or anything that haven't been looked at yet. I felt the other thing was that start going to your job and start doing, like, in your mind, practice goodbyes if you haven't done it already, because it'll start allowing you to let go of any attachments. All right. And the other thing I did think is that let go of any kind of attachment to outcome right now, because there's some creative opportunities coming up that you may not have thought of. Okay. There may be some partnerships that are also working within all of this. I too got that it was down the road a bit. Okay. I heard that discerning wisely is important for you right now. Take a look at everything and start looking at what you really want to be doing. How do you want your day-to-day life to go? How do you want to feel into it? Just all of that. As far as I'm just looking at this to see if there's anything else I had on here. Oh, is there an option for you to take a leave or some sort of practice kind of thing, extended vacation or something else until, no? Okay.
Not at this stage, no.
Okay. All right. So you either leave or you stay, one or the other.
Correct. And I'm doing two things, and the one that I like the best is the less I'll always do both, but I
Okay.
was the second one sort of I like to do more of, which means taking a little bit away, so it's more like shifting the amount of, like, shifting the ratio, I guess. So
Okay.
I don't know if that answered your question, but so it's more like how to transition into maybe doing less of the established you know, pay benefits kind of thing and integrate more of the not so lucrative part.
Well, I feel that with you, if you can find a creative way to do this and an energetic way to support it, it'll go more smoothly. I do feel like that there's some piece that's either unknown or not quite settled yet. Okay. And I think that if you, as everyone has mentioned, if you step back a little bit and detach from it and go a little slower with all of this, I think it'll fall into place almost. Okay. Like it'll become very clear what the next step actually is. As far as the traveling piece, selling your home or relocating, I think it would be really nice if you could do like a trial run on this too. Like keep your house for the time being, do a little bit of traveling or more traveling, and really get like, what do you want it to look like? Do you want to be like going from place to place for an entire year? Do you want to go once a year somewhere? Like, what is it that you actually want that travel to bring? And as far as what you want it to bring, what is already here that you might be trying to experience with the travel? Does that make sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that too eventually will be supported. Like, because I feel that like everything will come into play. I just feel that you might be very ready in your head already to go and do all of this, and you're starting to feel it. But I still feel there's more energetic work that
Yeah,
needs to be
makes
done
sense.
with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Does that
that makes
help you
sense.
at all?
Yeah,
Okay.
a lot. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, you're welcome. Is there anything else you had that you wanted to ask me about, or?
Um, not well. I love the idea of energy work anyway. I just like it. But
Yeah.
is
You
there
can
any
tell, you
particular-
can tell everybody what you do, Anne.
I just didn't want to. So I'm a physical therapist, outpatient, and I love it. And I
Okay.
love working with patients, in the population that I work with. But over the last year and a half, I started doing craniosacral work, and I
Oh,
just finished Reiki training, education. So I'm starting to practice that as well. And I enjoy that part, but because of the obvious that doing that kind of work, I've only been able to do it very part-time because I work at my regular PT job 4 days a week. So I'm using my fifth day to do a lot of the body work, which I love, but it wouldn't at this it would be like taking a leap of faith on just financial, So like I would love it if I could do PT a couple times a week and more body work, but it just isn't time. And I when you talk about kind of energetically getting there and like maybe get my head out of the whole like benefits, wages,
yeah.
that kind of thing.
Take a
So-
little time for that. I can see it in the astrology, but Craylin's got her hand up.
Right.
I'll speak to that if you like,
Yeah.
when I have my turn.
But
There's a
my
lot to talk
question-
about there. Mhm.
But my question was, is there any particular kind of body energy work that anybody would recommend more than others at this stage?
No, you got to find your own.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I love it
Yeah.
all.
My thought.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
and that's kind of
Intuitively, you'll know.
yeah.
Okay.
And you may want to experiment with different
Yeah.
types of energy work
Yeah.
also,
Yeah.
right?
For
Like,
sure. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Berlin?
Well, we're into cyclic, we're into change. Seems to be, a real message coming through the cards today. It is time for you to really consider what it is you love and how you can manifest that and change into it or the flow. Change is for the purpose of expanding our awareness. And it's also for the purpose of revealing to us that which is knowable and that which is unfamiliar. Represents the yin and the yang. There's black and white tied into this card very slightly. This again is Venus, but it's in Cancer. And so that's a very warm, kind of huggy kind of energy. Cancer represents the home. And of course, you've got Venus, which is the mama, the female, feminine energy. Can I ask how old you are?
Yeah, 54, just turned 54.
Okay, so you're well into the process of moving into what I consider, I know a lot of people think this is a derogatory word, but crone, meaning you're moving out of the time it was to be a nurturer and a mom and take care of everybody else into a time that is for you to develop yourself and where you shine in the world and find your own unique purpose. It's a process that women go through. Menopause pushes us into that process, whether you've already completed it, you're going through it, or you're starting it, it doesn't matter. Your hormones change and it shifts everything, the way you think about everything. As far as the work you're doing now as a therapist, the first thing that came to me, is there any way that you can do the cranial work with your therapeutic work on people you're working with?
Yeah.
There may be individuals that would benefit from both modalities at the same time, so that you would actually be able to get some experience in your daytime job and then get additional experience on that day where you're building a clientele, so to speak. I don't know if that's an actual possibility, but it sure
It
popped
is,
into my head.
and I do that sort of, I don't announce what I'm doing, but it's hard. It's actually hard to have, it's something in my toolbox. So it wouldn't be serving my PT clients, patients, if I didn't use what I've learned elsewhere. And it is, that's the right word. It gives me more practice anyway, you know? So it is, it's like, I'm kind of constantly doing it. Which that makes a good point too, that the way I'm separating out my brain, I don't necessarily need to, but yeah, the
As a
working for
Reiki-
myself versus somebody else.
As a Reiki master, I would also suggest that you always run Reiki when you're doing your work.
Yeah.
It will keep you separate and safe from your clients and will help them relax into your work much better. And again, you can do it spirit to spirit. You don't have to announce that you're
Right.
working with the energy, and if they're going to accept it, great. But a lot of my students were therapists and massage therapists, and they would get just so wrung out and depleted from their energy being sucked in that Reiki keeps that from happening. And since you're Reiki, just use it as
Yeah,
another
and
tool.
that's actually, I was recommended to Reiki because of that. I was getting tapped out with my job and, you know, the craniosacral work, and somebody said you need to go to Reiki, you know, so I started that training. But yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
I also see a medical office. I keep seeing this medical office. And I question, is the people talking about the partnership coming in, and is this 3 personal year that you're going into is about expressing your truths from your heart. It's about letting people know what you do and how good you are at it and standing in your own power with it. And I'm wondering if through all the conversations that are going to happen at the beginning of this year, if something's not going to appear and somebody's going to ask you to be part of their practice or business, or do you have somebody in your life that is that could happen?
Do you mean
I see
Tell
a
me-
better, I keep seeing an office, a medical office,
like where I work
rooms.
currently, or just?
I don't know. I just keep seeing it, and I keep thinking, I wonder if somebody is going to approach you. I wonder how much you're voicing that you are doing sacrocranial and you're doing Reiki. If you're letting people know the message that you're doing this, and I think the more you talk about it, things are going to come in for you.
Yeah, I think it started to, but it took some confidence, I think, just.
Right,
You
of
know,
course. Of course.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, this is a
feeling the
great
pressure.
year for you to voice your, to be you and to voice yourself, your truths from your heart. Yeah.
I can see at
Dorothy.
the end of January, I want to talk about a lot of things. You're a very driven individual. You have a Mars in Capricorn in your natal chart, which is incredibly driven. Like, you're accomplished, you're driven. And at the end of January, there's a bunch of things that click, just like a dial on a safe. You go you go one direction, you go the next direction, and it's three things are all coming together at the end of January. And I'm loving it because it's very much driven because of your reputation, your knowledge, and your accomplishments. This is so, and it can feel like there's some pressure. That's no big deal. You're used to it with your natal chart. You're used to pressure, and you just handle it. And so, to me, at the end of January, that shows us that, there is a lot that you can be processing and working on. So as of today's recording, we have still a few planets retrograde, and that represents inner reflection. And the Mercury retrograde in the sky is connected to something very specific in your astrology. And so for you to hear all of this information, I kind of laughed out loud when I saw where Mercury retrograde is today for you, just you. And it's funny because, when you have, from everybody who's done this before us over the last year or so, you're getting a lot of information from a lot of different perspectives from a lot of people, and you're going to have to sift and sort for a little while to see what works best for you, right? And so make sure you watch the recording again and again and again, because you're going to constantly get good info at different times that you may not have even heard live, right? So I could see that, and that tells me as well, with this time frame that we're in, all planets finish their retrograde. It's right around the very end of January. And we have, a moment in the sky for all of us actually to go, but it doesn't start until the end of January. And you have, again, three things that all sort of just lock into place about being incredibly driven in the things that are important for you. And so there's that. So I would just put a pin in that and just recognize that you have what you need. Just breathe into this, let it be what it is, process however you like to process. You're always, do you make lists? You seem like a person that would need to make lists. Do you make lists?
I do, but I'm not
Yeah.
organized. Somebody said I was organized, not in the traditional sense. Maybe I am in some, yes, I'm a list person.
Yeah, and that's what helps you to be organized. But
Yeah,
you do
I
have Virgo
suppose.
rising, so that would say that you need to be organized. It doesn't necessarily, you can be a hot mess, but still know what's going on.
Right, that's correct.
Anybody with Virgo rising is like that, just a hot mess, because a lot of people have Virgo rising. That's the most common rising sign, and for mathematical reasons. So you are that way. But I also want to address something that other people are talking about, because you're still thinking of this one big partner. And now that I know what you do, every time you're in a room alone with a person, that is a partnership. Okay. So you are being a hyper Libra, because every day, how many people do you work with in a day? 5, 6, 10, I don't know. But
10, 11, yeah.
really? Wow. I was exaggerating. I thought I was exaggerating. Holy shit, that's a lot. Sorry. Where?
Some days it is a lot. It feels a lot.
I want you to know that those are partnerships.
Yeah.
They're just those so I want you to make sure you recognize that too. I know you can analyze it and say, yeah, of course they're partnerships. I want you to let that sink in when you have time, that every single one of those is a partnership that you have a soul contract with, even if it's just for 6 weeks or 8 weeks or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Those are really, really important. Physical therapist really made a big difference in my life. One time helped me recognize a bunch, because you get to know you get to know your physical therapist when you're vulnerable on that table, whatever, you're making new relationships with people every day. So I want you to I'm sure you listen to them. I just want to highlight that. For some reason, I just need to highlight that for you, just so you recognize that's that piece too. So a lot going on at the end of January, but I can see how life has changed for you since 2022. You had a serious Pluto transit to your sun, and what that represents is tons of tests, 2021, 2022, that help you to evolve. So you are a different person than you were. Let's just go back another year, 2020. You were a very different person, and not because of the pandemic. We all were going through the changes we were going through, whether that happened or not. And I think you're a very different person from then. And you also have Pluto helping you to establish goals right now. So all of 2023 and into 2024, establishing goals, and because this will help you in the evolution that you're currently engaged in. Of course, we're all evolving every day, but this is something important when Pluto makes a connection to your chart, because it does. And it does it 5 times in 2023, between 2023 and 2024. That's a lot. And that just means that you really are getting the assistance from Pluto, but the universe, spirit, you're getting assistance to help you evolve into what's next for you. So there's no hurrying this. It's like the caterpillar in the cocoon. You're not going to crack it open and see how it's doing. You got to let it do it. That's the end of it. You got to let it do its thing. And so eventually you will evolve into what's next, and that will be most likely next year. And with all of the Saturn transits that you're having, here's another planet. This is you building your reputation. It's also when we're a little leery that I'm not quite confident enough, because I heard you say that, but it's that. So it's building your confidence. It's feeling like you have building your confidence, building your reputation, building your name. That you can't hurry that. That just takes time too. Mm-hmm. So the reputation you are already developing is important. Saturn has nothing to do with woo-woo, even though we all know, I'm a Reiki master too. We all know we all know these things are super valid, but still the mundane world still hasn't picked up on some of these things. So you are walking that fine line. You are walking that fine line, and that connection when Saturn moves to above your horizon, which will be March 13th, 2024. And then you'll start to be seen by those people that you want to work with, or how you want to start to separate these things, because that's going to be something that is important for you. You're going to just take your time. You're going to go slow with it, because you need to build things. You're not fast acting for the most part. You're not overly, I don't see it. You have no fire in your chart. You're not impulsive, but you are very determined and have a lot of strength to say, that's what I want. I'm going to build that, and I'm going to blah, 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 fill in the blank, whatever's important for you.
I think April is going to be an interesting month for all of us, but for Anne, and also July, August, and September. There's some newness coming in. July, August, and September, there's an undercurrent of the one energy that's starting to really build your confidence, you're starting to have a clarity, starting to understand things on a little different level. But it starts in April. There's a connection that happens in April.
Yeah, and this aspect, which is March 13th, I mean, it's not just that one day. We always have to give it a couple weeks wiggle room on either side, because Saturn moves slow. So we have to give it a couple weeks of wiggle room. And then Saturn does another thing in the astrology. Saturn, again, let's clarify, Saturn represents strength, wisdom, knowledge, growth, reputation, career, all of those types of things. And that is June, July, August. It connects with your life path, your North Node in Pisces, which is your soul is experiencing something that it's been waiting for, right? Yeah. That North Node is the life path. It's what we're striving for. It's not always easy. This only happens a couple times in a lifetime. The last time was 28 years ago. So this is, as an adult, this is really the first time maybe you were almost an adult before. I can't do the math in my head. But anyways, it's just this is something that you're setting up for like the next, third quarter of your life, if you will, because it's really going to feed your soul more than just the W-2 job. Okay. So it just takes time. So I feel like you're actually right on track. You're working towards what you need to work towards, and your soul is pretty happy with that. And that's late winter, early spring 2024 into early summer. So really 2024 has, I give you some dates. I still want you just to give it wiggle room and just know that this is, you're building a lot here, and it takes time.
Right.
You're doing it.
Yeah.
But
That's
I
good,
believe
Dorothy.
you.
Thank
Fabulous.
you. That was good.
Yeah.
Kraylin?
Okay. This is a mastery card. It's spiritual energy, the Prince of Wands. And he is a dynamic master of unlimited creative experience that is totally inspired from deep within. So here we are again, talking about your creativity. But this is on a mastery level. And what it tells me is, because this information is within, if you're not already, you need to really start listening to your gut. When your inner self is telling you, this is what you need to do, you need to listen to it. A lot of times it's very difficult for us to hear what our higher self is telling us. There's times probably when you've thought a particular thing and ignored it, and then 10 minutes later it whams you in the head that, if you had listened to this, then you wouldn't have had this issue. Or, that's the type of thing that you need to start paying more attention to. Your internal knowingness and the creativity that it is telling you that you have within yourself, because it will really help you to develop this next phase that you're moving into. You're going to come up with a creative answer to your situation. It's not going to be it's not really going to be what I consider, like putting it on paper and thinking it out and being logical. No, it's not logical. It's creative. And you have to trust yourself that intuitively that creativeness is going to make you more valuable. It's going to give you a way of presenting yourself that's unique, and being unique with your talents is going to draw in your clientele. So if you get this hit and it says, oh, you should do such and such, and your brain goes, oh, that's not logical, listen to it. Think about it. See if you can twist things around that you can get more creative with where you're headed, because I think that's where you will really find your soul calling.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I see one more
Lorelei, do you
thing.
have anything
Oh,
more that
sorry.
you'd like to say?
Well, the one thing I was thinking of when all of you were speaking about Anne going into her third year is I am just on the end of my third year. And I've got to say that it was one of the most enjoyable years that I've had. And there were so many creative things that showed up that I wasn't expecting that actually, materialized into something. And those were the best things. They, like, as I allowed it to unfold, I just got more and more into it, and it brought different business aspects up for me that were very nice. It brought up partnerships, like I started working with all these wonderful women in this call,
Right.
and but it did in many aspects of my life, and I didn't even see them coming. It was more that I started doing what I enjoyed, taking classes that I enjoyed again, different things, and things just kind of unfolded. And it's been a very pleasant surprise. So the only thing I would say is maybe not to focus so intently on just one thing. Allow that aperture to open up and see what else there is. Okay?
Yeah.
And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I agree. The 3 energy brings in friends, brings in people all around you. So listen to them, work with them.
Yeah.
They're going to help you grow. They're going to help you think in a bigger way. It's about you this year. The first year, 2022, yeah, it was about that new beginning. Okay, 2023 was about all the details around you and trying to pull everything together. And this year is say, okay, I've done all that work. Now I'm going to have a little bit of fun. I'm going to be with my friends. I'm going to express my truths from my heart, and I'm going to let that seedling grow a little bit more, because in 2025 you'll know where you want that to go a little bit stronger. Yeah. I'm going to bring in Joe is here with us. Joe's a really good friend of Anne. There she is. Good
I
morning,
didn't know Joe was here.
I'm all,
Yeah.
I'm all dark.
I
Hi.
can't see Joe. Hi, Joe.
Hi. I'm
You
excited.
don't have
for
your
you.
jammies on, Joe.
I don't. I did earlier.
So how are you interpreting what we're saying that's going for Anne?
It makes a whole lot of sense to me. I've watched
Mhm.
Anne go through all this stuff, and I'm excited for year 3. I think that's exactly right, to just enjoy yourself and let things happen. I've been her willing, she's worked on me, on my body. And I've been the person that volunteered. And I just think everything everybody said felt really right to me.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, no matter what, Anne's a very independent person. I mean, I see that in her chart. Dorothy sees that. It is going to happen. You will make it happen. But sometimes, like Lorelai and Dorothy both said, we can't push it, right? You got 9 years to work on this. You got all the energies are going to be switching and changing and helping you grow. So it's all about the fun, right? It's all about the enjoyment of the journey. And this year, like Lorelai said, is a fun year. It's about bringing in those friends. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to add really quick, well, Darlene's asking a question.
Yeah. I'll get you.
In the end of June and early July 2024, Jupiter enters your career sector. So it'll stay in there for a whole year. So from, let's just say July 1st, 2024 to August 1st, 2025. But in that first June, July, and this resonates with you, with what you said, Sue, because I just was looking up while we were talking, and it's like, there is something here that will expand your options. It's going to expand your career options, and the opposite area of the career options is home. Because I didn't speak about anything about you moving, but by purposefully, well, actually, yeah, anyways, thinking about it, but with all the Saturn things were going on that I mentioned, it's like, it tells me you're staying for now, and it's good just to travel. But when we get to the middle of this year coming up in 2024, like the June, July, August timeframe, you're going to start to see some options and see what options there are. But right now, there isn't an indication that you're actually going to move, but there is an indication that you're still building a reputation, and that's what's important. But it doesn't mean you're not going to start looking and getting ideas and, just indications as to what it looks like. But it won't be this year coming up. It won't be 2024.
No.
Unless something I don't see that. I just don't see it, but
I don't see it
you don't
either.
have it if you want to. But the Jupiter on the midheaven only happens every 12 years, stays in that sector for 1 year every 12 years. And that just means that there is an abundance of opportunities when it comes to your career. So look back 12 years from 2024, which would have been 2012. Did I do it right? Yes. And see what was happening then in your career. And
Went back to school. That's funny.
there you go. Okay. So it doesn't mean
Yeah,
you're going
no,
back to school. It just means you're getting more knowledge and you're using that knowledge
Mhm.
and look at other things there too. All right, I'm going to pause right there. I'll
Mhm.
fin-
That was good,
you.
Dorothy. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. thank you.
Darlene. Oops,
Can't
you're
hear you.
muted. We
She's
can't
not
hear
muted.
you.
Oops.
Her
Let me
microphone's
see.
not on. You don't have your microphone on. That's the right microphone. Sometimes Zoom doesn't know which microphone it wants. You can hear us
try
on one
this.
thing, but not on the other.
Is this better?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, there
Yes.
we
Okay.
go.
Okay. The reason I asked how many ones are in Anne's chart, can you tell me that, Sue?
Are you talking about the letters or the core energy?
No, just the personality and path of destiny.
Yeah, her expression is a 19-10-1.
That's what I was feeling. And with that 19-10-1, people have a tendency to be afraid to step into their full power.
Mhm.
And I suggest that you really get in touch with your own soul self-importance and give yourself permission to step into your full power, because you have the ability and you will not hurt anyone else by doing so. And that's important for you to know.
Yeah, that's
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you,
Mm.
Darlene. Darlene is a numerologist down in Southern Maine. We're good friends. We've been friends for,
Down
and
in
Dorothy and Darlene and I kind
Right.
of know each other well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. All right. And do you have anything you'd like to say to us?
Well, thank you. I can't believe it's been an hour. That was just fun.
Flies by,
Fun,
doesn't
isn't
it?
it? So much fun.
But it truly resonates. And it resonates. It feels like it's exactly what's been happening, and it all feels like good advice. And the way I'm hearing this is kind of getting out of my head and just the creative, and I've kind of creeped into some new things too. So it's just interesting, like what Lorelei said too, like just things expanding. And it's just exciting to think like, well, in 6 months, who the heck knows what new things are going to come along. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
anyway.
I think what Lorelei said was brilliant, because it's true. You just got to let it happen in the 3-year, because the universe will put it in your path. You just got to be aware and play with it and have fun. It's about joy, right? It's about
Yeah.
enjoying life, right? Yeah. Wow. I want to thank everybody for coming.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, if you're interested in contacting one of the readers, just go to my YouTube channel, Healing Numbers 22. All the information will be in the description. And our next sitter, which we'll be visiting with on January 6th, crazy, is Brenessa. And Brenessa is from California. Brenessa is a ordained minister. She's a school teacher. She's starting a spiritual business, needs some guidance on which way she really needs to be focusing in. And that she'd like to us to address finances and relationships. So I look forward to reading for her. And thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank
Oh,
you,
my pleasure.
everybody,
Thank
for
you.
being here. Joe, thank you for
Yes,
jumping
thanks,
in. You all take care.
Thanks.
Have happy
Thanks so much.
holidays. Keep the
Yeah.
Same
stress
to you.
level low, right? Don't
Absolutely.
stress. Yeah, most definitely. Bye-bye,
Namaste.
everybody.
Bye. Thank you.